Did you know there's a chord progression you can learn that will help you play 90% of the piano songs out there, no matter what genre they're in, whether it be classical, rock, or even pop? Well, today I'm going to show you how to play that progression, as well as give you a practice assignment so that you'll have it mastered in no time at all. Okay, so we are going to talk about what a chord progression is. First, let me lay out a scale. A scale is all the notes in a key put in order from the beginning note to the ending note. So what I mean by that is if you have the key of C, you're going to have from C to D to E to F all the way up to the next C. Here we have the C major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Let me get it so we can see the entire thing here. There we go. So on each note of the scale, you can build a chord. So if we have 8 total notes, we have 8 total chords. Although we really only have 7 because the first chord and the last chord are the same. So if I'm building a chord on each of these notes, it's going to sound and look like that on the keyboard. This is what it's going to look like on the staff paper. So we have our 8 chords laid out for us. And they are literally numbered by what number of the note of the scale that you're on. So you have the first chord built on the first note of the scale, second chord, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. And all the chord progression is a certain repetitive pattern of these chords. So say I did a 1 chord, a 2 chord, a 3 chord, and then back to a 1 chord, and then I did a 2 chord, a 3 chord. Well, that's a chord progression. It's very simply a progression or a pattern of chords. Okay, right on to what we're talking about today, the chord progression. The most common chord progression in music is 1, 4, 5, 1. These are considered the primary chords, the most important chords in any key. So let's take a look further into what this means. So here are the 8 chords that we had laid out last time. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So all a 1, 4, 5, 1 progression is that you're going from 1 to 4 to 5, and then most of the time you go back to 1. And I'll explain some exceptions here in a minute. So you have 1, and then you have 4, you're jumping from 1 to 4, 5, and then 1. Now this is the most important chord progression and most used chord progression in all of music. And it's used in about 90% of the music out there in some form. And like I said, in all genres of music. So remember 1, 4, 5, 1. And what I want you to do right now, if you're watching this video and you're not familiar with this already, is to play this in the key of C, just to kind of get an idea on how it works. One thing I want to mention is that these chords often don't appear in this exact order. A lot of times you'll see them flipped around, or you'll see certain chords even repeat themselves. So for instance, you can have 1, 4, 1, 5, 1. Now I just added in another extra chord in there, or you can go from 1 to 5 to 4 to 1. So just showing you that you can typically expect this progression to appear both in the order I first talked about and a little bit out of order as well. That's pretty common to find. Okay, now I'm going to talk about how you want to practice this progression. So you want to obviously start out in the key of C, play it just like I told you a minute ago. And then what you want to do is you want to play this in every major key to start out with. Keep in mind that all of these chords will be major. So as you go along, and you're like, hey, one of those is minor, you know you've made a mistake. So keep that in mind. All the chords are major. So after the key of C, what you want to do is you want to go up 5 notes from C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you want to play the same progression in the key of G. The reason we're going from key of C to key of G is because G only has 1 sharp, F sharp, which makes it a little bit easier of a transition rather than going into something with a lot of sharps right away. So you have G major, you're going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, C major, and then D, oh wait a second, that sounds minor. Oh, that's right, it needs to be a major chord. Also keep in mind there's an F sharp and G major. So when you're doing these in the different keys, you have to keep in mind the key signature, because if you don't, you will wind up with wonky sounding chords that will not fit the key right. If you want to learn more about key signatures, check out the playlist I've provided you in a description, especially a video called Master the Circle of Fifths and Your Chord Progressions in One Lesson. But you go to the key of G, you play it in that key, and then after that what you do is you go up 5 keys from there, 5 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next you're going to play it in the key of D. And then you go up 4 notes in that scale, and then you go up to the 5th one, back to the 1st chord. And then where you want to go from there, and then to the next key, right? Well, you count up 5 notes in the D major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the next one's A. And then that way you go in order of what we call the circle of fifths. And it's beneficial for you to do that because you add on the sharps 1 sharp at a time rather than, like I said, throwing you into a lot of sharps or flats, which can be very confusing. Speaking of flats, you want to do the same thing for the flats. So you want to start out with C, and then what you want to do is only go up 4 notes this time, called the circle of fourths. And play it in F, and then go up 5 notes there. Oh wait, only 4, sorry. And then you go 4 notes to the key E flat. And do this until you've gotten to all the flats and all the sharps. The key with all the flats would be C flat. The key with all the sharps would be C sharp. And like I said, check out that Circle of Fifths video if you want to learn more about how that works. But you want to learn this progression first in the key of C and then go around and learn it in all the other keys as well. Okay, so if you like this lesson and you want to learn much more, you like these videos that you see on the channel and you want more like it, you want to go to pianolessonsontheweb.com, where I've made over 25 courses there where you can learn a lot more about piano and also a lot of other things that have to do with music that'll make you a better piano player, such as music theory, improvisation, rhythm, sight reading, ear training, composition, and a lot more. You can really learn it all here. So it covers things for beginners. So if you're just starting out, new to the channel, there's a lot of material there for you also, but there is also a lot of material for intermediate and advanced players as well. Topics that I haven't covered here on the YouTube channel, and I probably will never, at least in the type of detail I do on the website. So I highly recommend you go over to pianolessonsontheweb.com and check it out and use the code YouTube to get 15% off any course. You can also get courses in packages on the Buy Courses page. There's a beginner's pack, intermediate pack, and advanced pack, and you can actually click on each one to see what courses it comes with. As you can see, for the intermediate pack, it comes with 9 courses, so it comes with quite a lot to keep you learning for a long time. So go over there, check it out, and use code YouTube to get 15% off any course. Okay, so this is the portion of the live stream where we're going to get together and talk about what we've talked about today in a little bit more detail. I'm going to answer some questions here from the community, and that way we can all learn together. So let's see what questions come in about what we talked about, considering the chord progression, the 1, 4, 5, 1. So what questions do you have about that? Okay, I'll tell you what, while the comments are coming in, let me show you what you can do with this progression in a little bit more detail in a way you can relate to a little better. So, you know, when I was teaching this progression a minute ago and playing the chords like that, it's hard to imagine how you can really apply this to music. Well, you know, if you are learning how to improvise, I can use these chords with my left hand, improvise a melody with my right hand, and come up with a song. So just using the same progression, I used voice leading with my left hand. That's why they looked a little different. But I played the same chords I was talking about, and I applied a melody to it. And you can see I was able to make up a song here in just a couple of minutes. When I play the B-flat blues, guess what progression it's using? Now, it's in different order than like what I talked about before. Sometimes it doesn't just appear as 1, 4, 5, 1. It appears as 1. I have 4 measures of 1 in this. 1 measure 4, or 2, back to 1, 5, 4, 1, and then 5 to do a loop around if I wanted to finish. I end on 1. So as you can see, there are huge applications for this chord progression, whether you are learning to improvise or you are learning real piano pieces. These chord progressions appear in these pieces, like I said, like 90% of the time. It's way more common to see this progression than not see it. Let's see, Dave. Oh, okay. Dave says, hey, Tim, can you explain more about circle of fifths? So, sure. One thing I highly recommend you do, because it can explain it a lot better than I can, because it'll do it in a lot better detail, is, let's see, circle of fifths. So you type in circle of fifths, and my video is like the third one down. You want to take a look at that, how to master the circle of fifths in your key signatures in one easy lesson. So let me get you a link for that here. What the circle of fifths is it's like a visual tool to tell you what your key signatures are. So let's find this thing. Okay, so here it is. So how this works is, where is that thing? Okay, so as you can see, it's a colored circle. It says major keys. There's a circle with major keys on the outside, circle with minor keys on the inside. Now, what this tells you is that, say you look up here, and they have the actual visual representation of what the key signature is. So the one with 0 sharps, 0 flats right there. Oh, come on. The one with 0 sharps, 0 flats is the key of C major or the key of A minor. You go down, you go over to the next one, you see that it has 1 sharp here. That's the key of G major or the key of E minor. So it's a great way, if you don't have your key signatures memorized, to be able to, a visual tool to look at, basically what key you're in. So if you're playing something that is, I don't know, that has 2 flats and you're not familiar with the key signatures, you go over here to the 2 flats, you go to the inside of the circle, you say, okay, well, that's B flat major, or it could also be G minor. Keeping in mind that every key signature has a major and minor equivalent associated with it. Okay, if you're looking to learn a lot more about what we talked about today, check out the playlist I have put in the description for you. You can find it obviously in the description, but I'm going to put some notifications up around the video as well, some cards and an end screen to just kind of point you in the right direction, making sure you're getting the right playlist. And check out the other videos on the channel. Make sure to subscribe to get all the latest updates for those. So this has been Tim from Lessons on the Web. Thank you so much for coming out to our classroom today, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Thank you so much.